I want to hear the full interview with the man, the myth, the legend, Joker himself.
If you enjoyed this podcast, consider liking and subscribing to be notified when
All right,
future
I'm
episodes
subbed.
release. Enjoy.
Subbed and
Hello
liked.
and welcome to another episode of Fireside. Today, I have a very special guest with me, someone who I've been following for many years, thanks to their status as the first
Think of that
level 60 in
6-monther,
Classic
Colorado.
WoW all the way back in 2019. Now, they've been playing old school RuneScape and have made some truly insane progress in less than half a year's time.
Hell yeah, he has. Joker's insane.
Welcome, Joker D. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Joker D, right?
No.
It's actually Joker, but it's fine. You can say it like that as well. Doesn't really
Joker
matter.
D.
I've heard it
What's
both
up?
ways, but thank you so much for joining. Thank you so
Sorry.
much. Great. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. I'm just chilling a little bit right now, doing some motherload mine. So this is like perfect, actually, to just talk a little bit while I'm, doing some like.
Of course, he's
AFK
grinding
RuneScape
during
you know?
the.
Oh, for sure. And I'm the same way. I'm also doing some AFK salvaging right now, so I can definitely relate to that.
Nice.
Yeah. I know, by the way, congratulations on 99 sailing. I saw you hit that yesterday.
Dude, this is why I love
Thank
the
you,
OSRS
thank you.
players.
I was gonna ask what you're sailing. at.
Always grinding, bro.
Right now, I'm at 83, about to be 84. So
Ooh, that's pretty good.
a little bit
Always
far behind,
grinding.
compared to how hard you've been gaming on your Iron Man. Because I've also been doing it on my Iron Man. But
Nice.
I'm just curious, actually. Let's just start off rip. How was sailing for you? How was the launch?
It was a lot of fun. I'm gonna be honest. Like, this was my first launch in RuneScape, right? Because I've never played a league or something like that, and it just gave me that like adrenaline of like a WoW expansion almost launching, where everyone's starting at like the same level and no one knows what's going on. Like, I had that feeling, which is like really cool, right? Like, seeing all the people just like doing the port tasks early on and like trying to figure out the quests, and like then seeing the bigger boats. It was a lot of fun. Like that first like few hours was like amazing.
100%. And I'm actually the same way. So I'm not sure if you're aware of my background a little bit, but I come from World of Warcraft as well. I've been playing for, my God, too long, honestly. I don't even want to say too long. And I've been originally from retail WoW. I did a lot of cutting edge rating there. And then I played a lot of
Nice.
classic WoW as well. So I played through the first 3 expansions. Not all of them. I played a lot of classic, a little bit of TBC, and even less Wrath, but played through some of them too. So I completely agree with you there. I was so excited to see how old school RuneScape handled it, because new content updates in old school RuneScape are very additive to the rest of the game. But like Varlamore,
Mhm.
people go in there and they know what they're expecting, right? New skilling methods, new bosses that are like using the pre-existing skills that you have. But sailing is kind of like everyone starts at ground zero, right? Kind of like a WoW expansion.
Yep.
Super cool, honestly. And what do you think
Nah,
of
it
the
was
skill
sick.
overall?
Like, the skill, I've been liking it. I
Mhm.
think it has like a bit of variety with like how you can skill it. Like, you have the trials, which are like very click intensive, like skill based. Then you have like salvaging, which could also be skill based if you like tick manipulated.
I'm
or
a
just
skill-based
go full
salvager that
AFK
doesn't tick
route,
manipulate.
where you're like clicking
Yeah.
every few minutes. Like, and then you have also the
I'm a
port tasks and
skill-based
bounties. Like, it's
AFK
kind of nice,
salvager.
like charting as well. They definitely have like more work to do on the skill for sure, but I think it's like off at a good start already.
Yeah,
Like, I had a fun with it at least.
it's great, like as a baseline, to build off of in the
Very-
future.
very
more
skillfully
content and all that
AFK.
kind of stuff.
That's how I play the
What do you
game.
want to see like in the skill? Like if you were to choose one thing that you're like, I really want to see this in sailing, is there a specific thing there?
I mean, I like to see like more interactions with like the skill with like the other skills in the game, right? Maybe also like some cool thing where you have like superior mobs like in the world as well. Like you're fighting krakens, and you could potentially get like a superior kraken. And if you kill that kraken, you have like a big XP drop, and that has like better loot as well. I think it could like do a lot of cool stuff like that.
So kind of like what you see with Slayer with their superior mobs, but kind of integrating that
Yeah,
into for
exactly.
sure.
Yeah.
And that kind of makes
Like,
sense.
build on that like shipping slayer, like saving
Mm.
slayer that got going on.
Yeah, 100% agree with that, right? Like, because courier tasks, the ones that are for combat, the combat ones are very similar to Slayer, right? You go in there, you kill a
Yeah.
bunch of things. So yeah, seeing some big, seagulls or whatever would be pretty interesting. Would be pretty cool.
It would be really cool. Yeah.
And the progression was smooth to you, like upgrading your boat and all that. You like that?
There were a few things that like kind of messed me up a little bit. So like, I didn't know that if you upgrade you could like skip upgrades. So I thought you had to upgrade tier by tier. and I was always upgrading my boot as soon as I can.
Mm-hmm.
And then I learned you could just skip a tier and like save hundreds of materials. And it's like an Iron Man. I was like, damn, like I could have saved all those like adamant bars or mithril bars, right? And I would definitely like to see them give an option to move things in your boat. Like if you build something in the wrong spot, like dude, you gotta spend like another 2 million on like magic stones, like on the extractor. Like in my case, I built it on like the corner instead of next to the salvaging station. So I was like, oh, I have to go down and click it every time, you know?
Oh yeah,
But yeah, it was still nice though.
I completely agree with that though. I actually just left a big long comment on one of No Monkey's videos about that, where I'm like, they need to find a way to make it so you can move your utilities on the boat, because I put my crystal extractor in the area where, as you said, you can't click it from the helm, and it's just like, oh my god, like I gotta move it. And
Oh,
it's
you
like
did the other way around. You
Yeah.
did the mistake where
Oh.
yeah, so like on the small boat, you want it next to the helm, right? And then
Yeah.
on
It would
the
be
big
nice if
boat,
you could
want it
move
next to
your
the
stuff around on the
salvaging
boat,
station. So
yeah.
I did the small boat right, but the big boat wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And now
That
I'm
was my
like, well, I
mistake.
don't want to do my Marlin trials without the extractor there for the bonus XP. So I'm like, that's like 3 million more gold because I got to move the
Yep.
Yeah, it's just I hope they fix that. I really hope they fix
Minus 3
that.
million.
And I know
I
they're
think
aware
they
of that.
will.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think they're really working.
Chat, shout out to everybody that is beta testing sailing for me. You guys are all legends. Thank you for getting after it and just getting out there on the high seas, wasting your money and your time. I just want to say thank you in advance for just getting out there. All the beta testers in the chat, W's for all the beta testers. You guys are amazing. Thank you guys for just putting in all the hard time and work. And I will be reaping the benefits of all of your hard work here in just a few weeks. So thank you very much.
Working hard right now to like integrate a lot of the immediate changes, like some of the bug fixes, some of the things that feel kind of weird, like some of the ship combat elements. I'm sure we'll get to that for sure. But I'm glad it worked well for you. I mean, first of all, obviously you got 99, so I doubt you'd do that if you were having a terrible time. But also, I'm glad that
Exactly,
like, it was fun overall. I'm sure it was just like a blast to experience that for the first place. But something I want to bring up, right? So you're obviously in a unique position, but to pull back just for a moment on just the WoW content creation scene, the RuneScape content creation scene, and this like connection that we've been seeing over the past few months. You obviously came in a bit late, actually, like a week or two later than some of the other ones, but now you're just steamrolling ahead. You are super far ahead. How do you feel about the past 4 months or 5 months of your time that you've spent with this game? Have there been some major takeaways? What's been your favorite part, your least favorite part?
Wiz,
Kind of an
what's
open
up, buddy?
question here.
Okay. Well, definitely like when I started playing RuneScape, I think it was like almost 4.5 months ago. It was like mid-July. I was just trying the game out. I always wanted to try the game. A long time ago, like when I was a kid, friends in my school were playing it, and I asked my mom, like, can I play? Can I get a membership? She was like, no. Like back then, like it was very weird to pay online, especially a subscription for a game. Like there's just no way that's happening. And I was like, dude, I don't want to play and not have a members account. And all my friends have a members account, so just never ended up playing it, right? And then probably about a year ago, there was like OnlyFans. So there was a lot of RuneScape creators in the guild.
Yep.
And I heard
Alfie
I was
be
like,
the
damn,
victim,
like
perp.
these guys are saying good things about the game. It sounds interesting. I would like to try it out at some point, but it's just very hard to like branch out of WoW, especially if you like only stream WoW, right? I remember talking to Guzu about it at TwitchCon earlier this year, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna try out RuneScape." I'm like, "Yo, that might be fun actually." Like I was thinking about it as well. And then I saw like a lot of other WoW content creators were playing it for like a month or so, right? And
You know who is actually the very first person from WoW to play hardcore RuneScape? This guy did it 2 years before everybody else did. Does anybody know who I'm talking about? Let me see if anybody can guess it first. This is before Mad Season. Before Mad Season. Can anyone guess the WoW streamer that played hardcore RuneScape? Damn, no one got it. He actually played it for a good bit. It was Stay Safe. Guys, Stay Safe played hardcore RuneScape for a long time. And I was like, what the hell is this guy doing? He played for a few weeks and he seemed like he kind of liked it, but it didn't stick. He ended up coming back to WoW.
I was like, I just tried the game out for a few days right before Mists of Pandaria launched, and I ended up liking it. It was fun. I ended up stopping playing MoP, played for a couple days only, and then I went back to RuneScape. Definitely the early game wasn't like the best, compared to how it is now, but it's just like you gradually unlock quality of life, and it just makes the game
Dude,
feel
unlocking
better over
quality
time,
of
you know what I
life
mean? Like it's just
is
it's kind of like the game design of
such
it,
a
right? Like
cool
where you
thing.
unlock, like,
I don't know if it would
traveling
work
with
in WoW,
fairy rings, and
but if they
you
can incorporate
use
quality of
walrus to
life,
teleport around.
if they can incorporate unlocking quality of life in Classic, it could be an amazing gameplay. Obviously, you can't do flying mounts, but maybe more flight paths, something as simple as that. I don't know what else they could do in WoW. They're so limited, but maybe they could figure it out.
So it's just kept getting better and better, and I'm still playing. I've like, what is it, 80 days now?
The housing system could incorporate some POH.
Love that.
Ridiculous.
Quality of life.
Yeah,
rather.
I mean, no, I'm
That
in the same boat. Obviously, I started. I want to say I started in February of last
Shorter
year.
Hearthstone
looking
CD.
At my time played right now, I have 234 days. That's insane, right? Of playtime over the year and a half, year and 8-9 months now. So it's pretty addicting.
Run
but it's
speed,
interesting, right?
maybe
You
like-
bring up like the amazing progressions.
What if you got like a burst of run speed cooldown? What if you unlocked a 5-minute cooldown burst of run speed that gives you 20 seconds of 100% increased run speed when you're out of combat? Like stuff like that. But maybe it could work.
System of old school, right? Like this, coming from WoW, where a lot of the progression is just linear. It's like combat, you're getting stronger, it makes things a bit easier with combat. There's some like side progression, like speeding up your mounts, maybe unlocking some portals here and there. But overall, most of the progression in WoW is combat driven, combat centric. In RuneScape, it's a lot less, linear. It's very, horizontal, as people say, right? Horizontal progression systems, a lot of utilities. That's why I love the construction skill and the magic skill so much. But what's interesting to me is that, you came in with this influx of WoW content creators. Now you are kind of like, I want to say, one of the last few remaining. And that's kind of a difficult question there. Like, why do you think that is? And I feel like I have an answer there in my own mind. But before I say my answer, maybe you should give me your rundown of what connects you further with this game than maybe some other content creators in the WoW space.
I think for me, like, what works really well with RuneScape is I like grinds, like things that take a long time. First of all, it gives me something to do on my stream.
Yeah.
One of the worst things that I can think of as a streamer is you go live and you don't know what you're doing.
Tylenol
You
confirmed.
don't have a plan. You don't have
Tylenol confirmed.
a task to do. You're just like kind of like grasping at content, right? Which is something that I have many issues with WoW, because I've played WoW for so long. I've made so many characters. It's just like at some point you're scraping the bottom of the barrel. There's just not that much left, right? And I feel like with RuneScape, it's just like a bigger barrel of like almost like a never-ending ocean in it, right? So like I really like that about the game, where there's just so many ridiculously long grinds, and I feel like I could just never run out of things to do. So that's kind of what keeps me playing, as well as just trying to like, do stuff, get things done, like level up the skills. Like I've been working on the achievement cape since I finished my quest cape, right? Which is a while back now, and I still haven't even probably done half of it. So it's just one of those things where that's kind of what keeps me going and playing the game. Maybe for the other content creators, it was more about like doing the quests, maybe just checking out a bit of the mid game, right? They started playing before me as well, to be fair, right? So maybe they had their fill. I'm not sure. Like I can't really put myself in their shoes that well,
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like it also stems from just the and this is not anything against them at all, because I was in the very same boat as all of you guys too, just a bit earlier, where it's a very since WoW is so combat centric, it's a little bit strange going from that kind of game where everything you're doing is just to facilitate a singular purpose of like killing things and getting stuff from killing things, to a game where like combat is probably like 30% of RuneScape, right? Like 30 to 40% maximum at most, I should say. And so it's a bit weird, and I can see that with some of the streamers coming in and prioritizing combat a lot, but then also like being like, well, now I got to do all these farm runs for all the utilities there, like the herb lore supplies and all that stuff. And man, I don't want to do that. I just want to kill stuff and get loot,
I don't think that's a bad thing, though. I feel like the way it is in RuneScape is really good.
Yeah.
Like, I like the balance. If you're only fighting, only doing combat, it gets a bit tiresome. If you're only skilling, it's the same thing. Having a mix between the two is like pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like in WoW, like in vanilla WoW, right? Like classic WoW. It used to kind of be like,
I know that I'm going to like Iron Man once I finish all of the minimum skills. I know that now because I'm okay with like 80% combat, 20% skilling. But until I get to that ratio, I'm a whiny baby. And that is just how it is.
Like that, where you would farm gold. And that being said, like most of the time with combat, but also you could do like, you know, what's it called? Herbalism, I think. Yeah, herbalism, where you pick up flowers and stuff, right? Mining, whatever. Not combat driven. And then you make gold, and that way you can afford your consumables for the raid, right?
Yeah.
You don't just raid, or dungeon, right? But over the years, the game has turned more into combat, like you said, like mostly combat. Even though, like, even in the modern expansion, they do have like events that might not be combat driven necessarily, but it's still like mostly combat, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a bad thing in RuneScape that they have a lot of skinning. I do like the skinning personally.
Yeah, I think that it's kind of part of what makes RuneScape so long term, right? Like, I think the further a game becomes nichified into a singular, like, narrow purpose, and the shorter the game's entire like lifespan becomes, right? Like classic WoW, as you mentioned, has a lot more different elements to it, but even still, it's more focused on combat than old school or RuneScape is.
It is for sure, yeah.
But like,
if it's just combat, you don't have much.
Even just
you don't have. You have a seasonal game.
Longer.
That's why it's a seasonal game, because it's just combat, really. I mean, how long can you just go in and do combat every single day? Eventually, you beat it, and that's what retail WoW is. PoE.
Journey there means that
combat.
you just play it for more than you would a season in retail, for example. And the more of that like broader gameplay style, the longer the game ends up feeling and having more opportunities to explore and diversify, as you mentioned, the gameplay. And that's kind of what I wanted to ask you, right? So we have content streamers, right? And they left, quite frankly, because of burnout, obviously, right? You play a game for a long time, you kind of get burnt out, and it depends on your own, expectations and perspectives. And for you, it's like...
Is that true, chat? Do you guys think that a lot of the other WoW players burnt out from... I don't think they burnt out from the combat. I think they burnt out on the skilling. Am I out of touch, or is that it? Or maybe the grind for items? Could have been the grind for items. They burnt out from CG. Ooh, they burnt out from the lack of getting items, huh? Or just the repetition of doing the same thing over and over and over. So it was skilling and CG.
I should have guessed, coming in, just looking at all of you guys from the outside perspective here, I should have guessed you would be the one to stick around for a long time, because I've been aware of your content and your streaming and all that for a while now.
I was aware of how much Tylenol that your mother consumed, and I could very clearly tell that you were going to be a fan of this game based on the double dose nature of your playing habits.
And I remember, the grind to 60, the multiple characters, right? My friend brought this up the other day when I mentioned that I was going to have you on the show. And correct me if I'm totally misremembering here. How many kills of Therizane did you do for that dagger in Classic?
It was 2,685 for the first one.
Exactly. Yeah. So
and it's a 1 in 400 drop or less, or something like that. 1 in 500, I think.
That was like playing RuneScape before playing RuneScape, And
it was fun. It was great content. Like, honestly, like, people loved watching it. Like, I almost felt sad when I got it, because it was like, now what? Like, there's not that many ways in RuneScape and WoW to chase items like that.
I've always said, guys, the SGC farm is one of the best farms in WoW. It takes 5 minutes per run. You could do 5 runs an hour, and it takes about 200 runs to get the drop on average. And there needs to be more of those type of grinds in Classic WoW.
Mostly items and raids, you have 1 chance a week, and then you gotta roll on the
basically
item.
the closest thing to RuneScape.
It's very different,
Yeah, exactly. Like, that lockout really prevents you from doing a long-term grind.
Exactly.
At endgame.
Even dungeons have lockouts. So when I was farming that dagger, I did it on 2 mages on different accounts simultaneously. So I could like do 4 runs on one and then 4 runs on the other.
Lockouts
so that way
is
I didn't have as much downtime, and I still had downtime because do 4 runs an hour.
I don't know. Lockouts
take a few minutes.
I have some strong opinions on that.
I think what really kept me playing, I played a Hunter in Classic. What really kept me playing Hunter,
waiting equals content
in general, wasn't the raid content. I thought it was fine. Not even the dungeon content, because that kind of becomes irrelevant once you get your pre-raid bis in some cases. What really got me playing, or kept me playing, is the
lockout is an outdated system.
Ooh, Okay.
I don't know if you've done those because I
I've
think they
never
just,
done them,
yeah.
but I know they're fun. Like I know like that's this is the thing. I'm gonna pivot a little bit here, but
Mhm.
like what's cool about content like this in WoW is like when you're soloing tribute or like I'm soloing Marathon, is any gear upgrades you get in raids, you really feel them in that content. Because like
Exactly.
it's like solo content. So like that upgrade you got, you're getting 100% value.
Lockouts are
100%.
If
Blizzard
you're in a
telling you to go
raid,
touch
if you're in a
grass. I
raid,
don't
that
want to go
100% is
outside.
divided amongst 40 people. So I get like really
Stop
excited,
making
like
me.
getting some upgrade, like, dude, I'm gonna go and do this like solo content now. I have a bit more health, bit more mana, and like with tributes, same thing. You have more agility, you have more dodge chance if you mess up, right? Or you have more damage. It just feels good, right?
100%. Yeah. And I agree, of course, here.
Mhm.
I think the part that's also worth bringing up about this is that all of this was very unintentional on Blizzard's side, right? Like
Yep.
everything we're talking
You're not
about
meant to do it.
is
Yep.
all emergent gameplay, which makes it awesome. And I'm really happy
It's the
that,
same with RuneScape,
yeah,
like with the tick system, right? And flicking. It's not meant to happen, but it makes the game way more interesting.
I think
right?
a big difference between the RuneScape
Accidental game
developers, the old
design,
school RuneScape
W.
developers, and a lot of Blizzard's modern development philosophy, I guess, would be that Blizzard would see that and patch it out. Well, RuneScape sees
Yep.
that and embraces it and like really makes it a part of the game. Like so many bosses now
100%.
rely on the tick system and understanding it to work well. And this is actually, I want to talk about it a bit later, but this is such a perfect segue actually.
Best badge.
to,
Let's go, Dobro.
Classic WoW and Classic Plus, which I'm sure will come about within the next year or two. This kind of poses that follow-up of, well, how is Blizzard going to do something like this when they've, I guess, proven time and time again that their philosophies, their attitudes toward the game is still very much within the retail headspace of
Mhm.
making sure that things are linear, simple. There's not that like quote unquote great game breaking emergence like solo Marathon and tribute runs and all that kind of stuff. How do you see Classic Plus? Like what are the chances in your mind that it's like something truly great for more than like a couple months or a year?
None.
I mean, I think
I'm beating
like, I would
chat.
play.
I'm beating everything in Classic WoW within 2 months. Guaranteed. I am beating every single thing. And more than likely, I'm beating it in 2 weeks. More than likely, I'm clearing everything that Classic WoW has in 2 weeks. That's just the sad reality of it. That's the sad reality.
Play it for sure, right? I'm excited about it, but I feel like
too.
it probably wouldn't be that great early on, and they would have
In Classic
to
Plus, whenever it comes out.
hopefully listen to the community and then improve the game, right? Because it kind of like reminds me of old school RuneScape, where if you look at old school RuneScape early on, like the player counts and stuff, it was like kind of dwindling down. And then once they started adding new content to the game and polling and stuff like that, that's when it grew, right? Like
Yeah.
that's. And maybe it's like copium, but maybe this could happen with Classic WoW, Classic Plus as well, right? Where
For
like
sure.
there's a lot of hype, everybody's playing it, people play through the content as always, they consume everything, and then like people just kind of like move on, and then the way you bring people back is by adding like new content that people are actually interested in seeing, right? Based on feedback. That would be the ideal scenario, I would say. I would not expect the game to be like perfect. There's never going to be a perfect game anyways, but like I wouldn't expect to be a home run off the rip,
Oh, for sure. I guess my concern is, and I don't want to be a downer here because I, just like you, I am excited for Classic Plus and I want it to be great. And I want, a lot of my videos about the topic might come off a little bit negative, but at the end of the day, it's only because I really, really want it to work and be great and work
Yeah.
for more than a little bit of time. So to me, the I guess issue is that old school RuneScape on launch was a very small investment for
397
Jagex
396
in the long term,
KC,
right? It
boys.
had like 4 or 5 developers at most upkeeping the game, working with pre-existing assets until they got access to the development or creator kit. So like it was very small. It probably didn't cost much to keep going. So when the player counts were really getting nuked, they were like, it's not that big of an issue for us. And eventually when they started growing again, it's like, perfect, now we can invest into it. Now we have a reason for it to grow. Well, for Classic Plus and just the game in general, the Blizzard's World of Warcraft, the game is still a theme park. So it needs more content to sustain like,
Sard, we need a retrospective video from you about your Inferno journey. It was honestly some of the greatest content tuning into your streams and seeing the prog. Really think that moment you had should be discussed and share how you felt during your MMO as a gamer. Well, I made my Inferno video already. It's on YouTube. I appreciate that though. Unless you're talking about making another one and you already watched the one that's up and you didn't like that one, or you thought that there should be more. Then, yeah, we could talk about that. That's something that could be discussed.
The demand, right? Because of the more linear progression, the more vertical progression.
I thought I said what I had to say, though.
A bigger investment off rip. It can't just be like 4 or 5 developers keeping it going, and then the Blizzard's like, maybe we'll invest more if it sees growth. It kind of needs that like to hit the ground running, because it needs to be a multi-million-dollar investment just to fund the creation of. And that's my concern, where it's like, I don't know if they have the opportunity to almost
2 hours
fail,
of CG,
like old school RuneScape, before
2
Blizzard
hours
is like gets scared
blood
and gets
runes.
cold feet and like, you know, divests from it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, it is very, very much true what you said. Like, you need a lot more work, and I think part of it is also, I don't feel like anyone ever brings this up, but like, RuneScape doesn't have a class
Wait,
system.
Path of Exile? I'll think about
but
it.
WoW does. And like, when you have a class system, you have to, whenever you're adding content to the game, you almost have to consider the class system always, because like, how does this class affect this content? You have to balance it around this class not being too good at it and this one not being too weak. And it's also why in WoW we don't have things like the Zuck helmet, right? Like, you can't have these like super challenging achievements when you have to balance everything around every class.
Right.
So like, it's a lot more work, and
That's
it
why
kinda
RuneScape
sucks, right?
Biss.
Like, I come
RuneScape
from
Biss.
games where there's always classes.
Same.
That was one of the things that
Classes
put me from playing even RuneScape.
I didn't realize that classes was the thing that kind of like is hindering most of the game design for MMOs, because they spend all of their effort trying to balance the damn game instead of adding fun and engaging content. If your game is always balanced, you don't have to think about that. Classless MMO. It's goated. It's been here the whole time. It's so good.
Because like, there's no classes in RuneScape, right? I'm like used to it. But playing RuneScape now for like a few months has really opened my mind way more on this. Like, damn, like, you don't need a class system in a game. It's crazy.
No,
It's
you
so weird,
don't.
right? But I'm not saying like they shouldn't have classes in Classic Plus. They definitely should. It's just a core part of WoW identity to play a mage.
Yeah, they should. It's just going to make the game
But this makes it a lot harder of a job.
harder to
for
balance.
Blizzard. Especially if they want to do more solo content, because people love solo content.
You can't
I
have
don't know
solo
if you ever
content in
played
WoW.
Legion,
It's
and
just-
you
Yeah,
had
of
like
course.
the Mage Towers. Remember that?
Yeah.
It's tough to make it work.
Legion is,
Love that,
one
you
of
know?
my favorite WoW expansions. My hot take
Same.
is that Legion is
It is my favorite,
It is
period.
my favorite. Oh shit!
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm
It
glad
is,
we
yeah.
can both agree on that. Yeah, I
Don't get me
love
wrong.
Legion.
If Legion came out tomorrow, I wouldn't play it.
No.
But like, at the time when I played it, because no
Absolutely
one knew what was
not.
happening, right? That was like my favorite time in WoW, because like,
Yeah.
that was like, you know, first time doing Mythic Plus, you know, all that stuff, the Mage Tower, right? Like, it was a cool moment, right? So I always say it's like my favorite when I played it. But like, as a replayable expansion, I think Classic Vanilla has the best, because it's the most replayable one.
Yeah,
if you ask me.
I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't, classify Classic as an, that's just the base game. Classic is my favorite.
Yeah,
version
you
of
get what
WoW.
I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100% agree
yeah.
with you. Like, Classic is my favorite version of World of Warcraft, but Legion is like my favorite expansion, because to me, like, as much as I
Yeah.
think TBC is good,
Mythic Plus
and
got
Wrath of
added
the
in
Lich King is
Legion.
good, all these just kind of, this sounds bad because I know a lot of people love them, but it's like they just make the stuff that's already in Classic, but just kind of a little bit simpler, a little bit less crazy, a little bit less.
I never played
Reduce the
Legion, guys.
content in the game.
Yeah,
I never played.
And
I have the same take. Like, people hate it when I say bad things about TBC and Wrath, but like, in my opinion, they're just scam expansions where it's like you have all of this content and now it's irrelevant, and then you just go to like 6 zones and that's it. You know, it's like kind of weird, right? Like, and that's what sucks about it. You know, like,
Yeah.
imagine if those things were added to the game and it didn't.
What if you stayed
all
level
the
60
older
and all the
content
older
irrelevant,
content wasn't
right? And then you just
irrelevant?
have a bigger game. You have more things
Yeah.
to do, right? Versus actually less things to do.
Yeah, that
know,
like
it's just-
horizontification, that's not a word, but
Dude, Joker's spitting right here. It's like, yeah, these expansions come out in WoW, and they're like, here you go, guys. Now you have less to do. How does that make sense? It's just new stuff, but overall, it's less to do. You have less world, less content. You have a little bit of leveling, which is like 3 days, by the way, of like leveling. And then that's it. And then you have like 1 raid. 3 days of leveling, and then you have 1 raid and a couple of dungeons, which, by the way, you can only do that raid once a week. That's a WoW expansion. it just, when you break it down like that, it's not good. Like horizontal is just so much better because you keep everything relevant. You have so much more game.
Let's pretend it is. That element of adding that to World of Warcraft, or like really emphasizing that in World of Warcraft, is an interesting, topic in and of itself.
Yo, thank you for that. I appreciate that, Mr. Pyro Donkey. Hashtag bankrupt Bezos. By the way, guys, if you do use your Prime, it does not give you the limited time Dragon Simtar badge on Twitch. Do not fall for that scam. You have to gift the actual sub. It's not my promotion, by the way. Jagex and Twitch. That's just the way it is. I tried to use a discount, my limited time discount, to get you guys discounted gifted subs, and that also only works on 5 or more, unfortunately. So I did everything I could to try to get you guys discounted 1 gift sub, but it's out of my hands at this point. You have to gift a full price sub to get the Dragon Simtar badge
itself, because like, how do you do that in WoW? Like, something I've seen being mentioned by people that are like, oh, just make Classic Plus, but make it more horizontal. Well, what does that look like in World of Warcraft? And that's always been like an interesting topic for me to think about. Like, well, okay, you have resistances, right? Like maybe you can emphasize those more in raids, but at what point does a raid come out and it just doesn't offer enough upgrades to facilitate all 9 or 8 classes in the game, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely hard. It's easier said than done. Right?
Yeah.
Insanely hard to do.
But it's doable though. Like, I'm not sure if you play Seasonal Discovery, but like, you still did all the raids. Like obviously the newer raids gave better loot and they had more BIS items, right? But you could still have raids that give specific things like enchants. Like, for example, Saffron drops an enchant on your shoulder, and that was best in slot even when the next raid Scarlet Enclave came out, right? So we still went back and did next Ramas. Like, the new raid did not invalidate the old raid. I think no matter what, this is like the bottom line for me. Never increase the level cap.
Yeah,
Classic Plus,
never.
Level 6, that's it. No more. The moment you increase the level cap, all old content is invalidated. It's just by default, right? So they would have to at least not do that and just add content where, like, yeah, there's better loot, but you still want to do the old stuff as well, right? It's really hard to do, though, because like people want to see new tier sets. They want to see
combat level 112, prayer level 78.
It's kind of the same with RuneScape, to be honest with you. Like, people want to see Raids 4. Raids 4 is going to have power creep, whether you like it or not. There's going to be some new mega rare that maybe it's going to make some other item not that good anymore. It's very hard to do this, right? I always like bring up Avernic Treads as like an example.
Yeah,
where like
best game design,
like omega crazy.
Best game design.
But at least they made it where the older boots,
you combine 3 of the old.
So like you still want to farm.
Dude, this is such a good call from Joker mentioning the Avernic Treads. You take 3 of the old boots and make them into the new boots for the BIS boots. And they can combine old gear. If you had to collect all of tier 1 in order to get tier 2, it keeps the old content relevant. Boom! Don't just let people loot tier 2. How sick is that?
It's a separate. I don't have a line of Slayer for him, but like the dog boss. Yeah, you want to farm the dog boss to get the prims, right, and stuff like that. You just want to get ranger boots. You want to get infinity boots. So even though they added an item, in my opinion, that's a bit too good, they still included the old boots into it, which is so clever. So like, what if, right? In WoW, they kind of did something like that, where like a new raid comes out, and maybe you need gear from the older raids in order to be able to actually fully acquire the loot.
You need full tier 1 before you can start turning it into tier 2.
It's definitely interesting if it worked that way.
Yeah, I would love.
And I feel like they have
Blizzard.
maybe done this a few times,
Yeah, I'd love to see Blizzard play around with that. I think I didn't play all of Season Discovery. I honestly only played 2 phases, but
and then that way you could take off the weekly lockout because people would need to run the raids more in order to acquire all of the gear, because all of their tier 2 gear would be useless until they got the full tier 1 set. Boom! Now we're talking game design. Let's go.
I'm not even. I say like a phase and a half, honestly. But I think my main, first of all, my main issue with Season Discovery has nothing to do with any of this. I just didn't like the fact that they like their idea of and some of them were really creative, but their idea of like enhancing classes was just adding abilities from future expansions. Like I was like, really explosive.
No synapses yet, boys.
Like, So as soon as I saw that on my hunter, I'm like, ugh. But But that's likely because of a smaller development team making their own stuff. So I understand that. But but beyond that, you know, Season of Discovery has some really interesting elements, had some issues as well, obviously. But
New prediction
had
up.
some interesting elements based on what you're saying here. And my I guess my not even concern, just my hope is that Blizzard recognizes that the itemization in the classic WoW, the original classic, is really interesting and clearly very accidental, because in future expansions they kind of narrowed itemization down, made things a little bit more of like a stepping stone rather than having molten core have gear that's really good until max, right? Like it was kind of accidental because clearly Blizzard's developers at that time didn't fully understand how their stats worked, but now they do, and now they make it very linear. So maybe taking a step back and instead of balancing items to be scalable or very meticulously, they can just kind of make every stat useful for every character. Something I really hate about retail WoW, and this started in Cataclysm and Wrath, where now there's just the primary stats and all of them are just specifically associated with like one kind of class, right? Strength for warriors, intellect for mages, blah, blah, blah. I wish that like every stat had use for every class,
Okay.
but just in a different way.
Oh yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
it was already kind of like that in
in
Classic, you know? Like
it's kind of like that in Classic, yeah.
Yeah,
for sure. Because like warriors want agility as well.
Exactly.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I mean, it would be nice if they could somehow make every class be like Warrior. Warrior is the best class design in Classic, and then I think Paladin, Tank, and TBC. But keeping all of the gear and keeping it interesting to where everything could help you in a different way, and you need to have all these different types of gear in your bag to like make your class play differently depending on the boss. That's how you can, that's the horizontal progression of the game. How do you keep WoW horizontal? The stuff in your bag. Make what you bring in the bag matter in the fight and give you an advantage. And the more gear that you bring, the more advantages and unique situations you can create by having stuff in your bag. That's where the secret is, in my opinion, for horizontalness of Classic Plus.
They removed all of that, and I hated that they removed all that because they really flattened.
Yeah, because it became more boring. That's interesting. Items are not. No one cares about items now. Like it's like no one's gonna remember an item from like a retail expansion unless it's like some crazy weapon or trinket with a cool effect, right? It's just the random gear like helmets, chests, like fees, rings. They just don't matter anymore.
Exactly,
you know?
and I think
like people remember the rings from Molten Core, like the Onslaught, what's it called, like Onslaught ring or whatever.
Yeah, Onslaught bracelet, right? Or brace or something.
The Onslaught girdle is a belt. The Band of Acuria? Is that what he's talking about? With the 2% hit? This guy's a WoW player.
Like that. Maybe I'm misremembering. But I remember the ring from BlackRock, this tank ring that would reflect damage was so cool on Protection Paladins.
Nagel ring,
Yeah, Nagel ring, exactly. Yeah, I love that. So like there's so many unique items in Classic because there was no concern for having them be perfectly itemized or scalable.
Maybe QSR, yeah, maybe QSR.
And people discovered really unique items that worked really well for specific classes and builds. And that's what really gave them a lot of identity.
It was ridiculous back then.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure if you know this, like, you know, the BlackRock devs have like a trinket in the end, like Hand of Justice.
Yeah, of course. Hodge farming was crazy.
So the original Hodge had like twice the chance of proccing, and it would proc 2 attacks instead of 1. 2 extra attacks, and it was bugged on the beta, and it would proc 4 attacks instead. So like some of these items were like more ridiculous than the versions we got because it shows like the devs didn't really know what they're doing, right? They just were messing around. And that's what makes the game cool. All these like accidents, these like imperfections of the game is what makes it like fun. You know, not everything being like completely simulated in a way where things have to be within a few % of each other. Otherwise something's wrong, right? All like if you look at retail itemization, all items have the exact same stamina.
Yeah.
The same exact like crit strike and haste. They're just itemized like that. It's just not interesting.
So boring.
And that's like my issue. I mean, I just actually in my most recent video had a whole segment about itemization and how it's been super flattened to just be permanently scalable. And this is thanks to Mythic Plus in part, but also because of the way raids work. I remember back in the day, you know, in TBC, even they really stopped doing this at the end of Wrath, but specifically Cataclysm, when itemization was ruined, in my opinion, was like TBC heroics and normals had completely different items, you know, which I thought was really cool, right? Like heroic dungeons versus normal dungeons, totally different. Just everything's different, right? and that just made them more exciting to get into and find items that work.
I think you're right about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in TBC, so you're saying in TBC there's items from heroic that just did not exist in normal.
Yep. And it was just
I think
super
you're right,
exciting.
yeah.
And I really loved
Yeah, that's cool.
I played Protection Paladin in TBC when I played TBC. And
Miss.
that's to this day my favorite itemization of
Like,
any
bring
game.
up the trinket, are you?
Oh, well, not even just just the fact that it's a tank that uses holy damage, or like spell power, I should say, for holy damage, because that's how you generate aggro.
Nah, it's
and then,
so much fun.
dude,
I love
it's
it.
so cool. And then on top of that, you're balancing your stamina and your defense rating. So it's like a puzzle piece. You have like 30 pieces of gear.
You're puzzling all your
You
gear.
play Arcane Mage. in
No,
TBC.
I haven't. I Hunter and Prop
You would love it. You would love it. Because like with Arcane Mage, man, it's like the coolest thing ever. So like I'm gonna go on a nerd talk here. So
Go.
With TBC Arcane Mage, right? You have like there's like a chart where the more intellect you have, right? The more mana per 5 regeneration you gain from spirit. So you reach a point with your character where spirit becomes insane because you have so much intellect.
That's cool.
So you're always gemming intellect on mage, and then you're trying to get items with intellect and spirit as well, and then you become like a mana machine where you're regenerating your mana. You're not even depending as much on innervates and shadow priests, even though you still do. And it's just so satisfying to do that. It's so satisfying to like, oh my god, this has so much intellect. Like this trinket has like 40 intellect from Karazhan. Like, it's like one of these that will consider me playing TBC again, which is coming out like in a few months. It's just how fun Arcane Mage is. Even though it's like the most simple rotation, the itemization on that class makes that class. It's just like I've never been so excited to gain intellect and spirit. As
in TBC, whenever hardcore pops off, I'm thinking about Prop Paladin or Arcane Mage. Those are the two I'm thinking about. And I'm glad they confirmed it here.
like Arcane Mage in TBC. It's like the most fun thing ever.
It's funny because that's like what was one of my biggest
Hunter would be my
takeaways
third
from Classic, outside of just how incredible the 1 to 60 journey is. It's like my favorite leveling experience.
I feel like Hunter would be a good first time playthrough in hardcore TBC because I don't know TBC very well, and Feign Death is just OP. And you have a pet. So if shit starts to go south, you can send your pet, run away, Feign Death. And like then you can kind of learn the game. You can kind of learn what's scary if you play a Hunter without having so much like penalty if you do something wrong.
Of any game is the 1 to 60 of Classic.
I main Feral Tank
obviously
in
they can't
TBC last time I played.
replicate that, ever, right? There's never going to be a time where Blizzard releases 30 zones that you level through, not even in Classic Plus. So like, it's just going to have to, this is all we get ever, right? That's why adding a new zone in Classic Plus doesn't really mean anything to me, because it doesn't have that level of like diverse pathing and like, oh, you got to do a quest in fucking Desolus and then go to Arathi Highlands afterward, and you're running across the entire map just to get 2 quests in, right? Like that pacing only gets worse the more quests Blizzard adds, right? The more zones Blizzard adds, right? And that it was so like weirdly perfect in Classic. And beyond that, the itemization is the other thing that really spoke to me, something I really haven't experienced in WoW in such a long time. Like even, we mentioned Legion, and I want to just
item identity
bring up Legion here, because Legion to me, the reason it was so exceptional is because it felt like Blizzard actually had a vision for the future of World of Warcraft. And it wasn't the classic WoW version of the game. It was like this ARPG Path of Exile version of the game, where you get legendary items that are super rare that completely change your entire character kit. Like everything about you, the way you play, your rotation is completely changed just based on one item. And then on top of that, you have this like infinite grind, this super impactful artifact weapons. And the most frustrating part of all of that is that I love that kind of stuff. That's my favorite thing, because like you, I'm a big grinder.
Yeah.
But so many WoW players are so accustomed to just like doing a raid a couple times and getting everything they need, that like that felt bad to them. It's like, oh, why do I need to grind artifact power? Why do I need to hope for a good drop for the legendary items? But it's like, because you're playing a fucking MMO. That's the whole point of this genre.
They didn't like the RNG of it, right? Like
Yeah.
there were some issues with it early on, because
Yeah,
there was
the
like
hard
a hidden
cap.
cap.
Yes.
The hard cap, right?
Defense 83.
But I definitely think with some WoW players is their goal is to not play the game.
Yes.
They want to reach a point where they got all their pre-bis, they get their raid ready and just log in and raid, and that's it. Or they got all their raid gear so they can log out, not play until the next. It's just people don't want to be playing like how RuneScape people play all the time. It's just sad, But I get it, right? Like, But at the same time, I want to just
405
have
right
more
now,
content in
Peller.
the game. I want to have more grinds. But obviously, I'm
405
privileged where I can play this game 8 to 10 hours.
Chat, real quick. I'm about to take the prediction down. If you want to gamba, if I will get a synapse in the next 45 kills, I'll give you 2 minutes to gamba your points. We are at 405, and I'm going. The gamba is for 450. All right, so get your prediction, and then I'll take it down in 2 minutes.
A day as a job, whereas other people might not be able to, right? So it's always that like battle between the casuals that want to be able to keep up with the people that are sweaty, and then the sweaty wanting more content for themselves, right? So it's definitely like one of those tricky situations, yeah.
But it's also one
got
that's
you,
like
Zaku.
totally bred by Blizzard, in my opinion, where like if Blizzard wasn't operating on a 6-month reset cycle with seasons, I don't know if casuals would feel as rushed to compete with sweaty players.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't need to. They can just take their own time and pace. The reason
This is a good point, yeah.
Yeah, a 60-hour grind in RuneScape doesn't feel as bad as a 5-hour grind in retail WoW, because that 60-hour grind is going to stay with you forever, while that 5-hour grind is going to disappear in the span of half a year, if not less.
Yeah.
And so I think Blizzard needs to, like, in an effort to cater, quote unquote, to casual players as well as the sweaty players, they've ended up fostering a community that just doesn't like MMOs that much. And that's my biggest concern with Classic Plus and a potential polling system, where I'm like, okay, you're going to be polling people that don't really like MMOs too much. And I'm very scared that the poll is just going to skew to like making the game easier, faster, more convenient, without acknowledging some of like the friction necessary, those jagged edges that we talked about to make it work. Because
slower
OSRS
long-term
community,
gains,
for as much as I may disagree
better
with some of their
MMO model,
polling takes
in my
sometimes,
personal opinion.
that was why polling worked in OSRS. They were so conservative, so scared. I don't know if you know this, and I say this quite a few times now in my other content.
Give it a 5 gifted, Dusty.
When Jagex polled in 2014, the ability to turn your camera with the middle mouse button, that failed the first time.
Really?
Yeah, it had to be. Yep. So the OSRS community was so conservative, so afraid that their game was going to die again, like it did with the EOC, Evolution of Combat update, that they didn't even want to turn the camera with the middle mouse button. That's how much they wanted to preserve it. So it was only when the game was
the purists.
Yeah, exactly. So it was only when the game was kind of struggling to retain players, that's when desperation kicked in, and quite frankly, faith in the existing developers that they can do more with what they have.
That's
That's when we got like Zulrah and all that kind of stuff. And ultimately what led and paved the way to Sailing Now, where that faith really was built up in Jagex after Jagex lost all the faith with their mistakes in the past. That faith kept building and building and building, where bigger and bigger updates could be pulled and would pass. And today, sorry for the ramble here, but today Jagex can really understands what the players want in their game, a new continent, a new skilling method, and they know it's going to pass a poll. So when people say, oh, every poll passes, that's not because players have become dumb or have become blind
Jagex
to
becomes
content.
smart.
It's because Jagex understands what the players want and what the game needs, quite frankly, to sustain and continue growing,
They know it's going to pass.
Yeah, they're not polling things that they know for sure won't pass. Right.
Yeah. That's my concern with Classic Plus. I don't know if you agree with me there, but I'm like so concerned for Classic Plus because of that.
Nah, totally. Like you made some good points as well. And I was gonna like say something and I forgot it.
I'm sorry.
But like it's kind of like the problem with some of the stuff is you were mentioning about casual players, right? I'm remembering it now. Like how like WoW is. So like, okay. Yeah, I remember this. I was watching Sardaco stream I think that's like a week ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he went on like a little tangent about how like RuneScape is not for casual players and WoW is. But I was like, dude, it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Because with WoW, even though there's less content, because like you said about the 6-month cycle, right, where they add new content, you feel like you have to keep up with the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. But with RuneScape, even though there's more things to do, there's no need to keep up. You can just play the game at your own pace and not feel like, again, your content is invalidated. Yeah. And this is the main issue with WoW. It's like, oh, you have to get all this gear, otherwise you won't be invited to the raid. It's like people in RuneScape complain about how it is to find a TOB raid.
Chat, RuneScape the casual game confirmed.
Everything is in WoW is like that.
Yeah.
you know, you're trying to get into groups, like it's hard. And if you're behind because you're a casual, then you get screwed, right?
For sure. And I just made a video actually about specifically a grouping systems in either game, and how I do kind of want OSRS to adopt.
Guys, that's like what's crazy is there's two ways of viewing everything, and both of those views can be right. And that's what's so great about the English language, is I could be like, guys, this shirt is black. And some of you guys could be like, actually, that shirt is the absence of black because it's the reflection of that shirt absorbing every color but that color. So it's actually everything but black. And then you would be like, true. So it's like, it's just the way that it is. That's just the way that it is.
The kind of grouping system that WoW ended up creating, not the LFG one, not the one that's like pairs you with random players. That fucking sucks. But I'm saying like the Mythic Plus one where you can list yourself and people can apply and you can like curate your stuff. I think RuneScape definitely needs that if it gets more group content, which it will down the line, because I think it needs to like a standardized way to kind of like list your group and find people.
It's definitely lacking that. I
Yeah.
mean, I've complained a few times, like the RuneScape, like social system and like with the friends and stuff like.
His education went with his hair. I'll see you in 30 seconds after this timeout, Mr. Nello.
They need to update this.
Yes,
You know,
100%.
apparently, you didn't even see achievements from other people at some point. So
Yeah.
I think they're a little behind on that. But I honestly, personally, don't mind that there's not that much forced social interaction in RuneScape. Like, you don't have to make a group for everything. You know, you can just like play the game, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to make raids. You know, you could just solo some of these raids, right?
I always
That's
say that
nice.
RuneScape is a
Smitty,
it's
thank you for that
less
sub.
a grouping MMO, it's a communal MMO where most of your like quote unquote interaction is just doing stuff around other people, which is really fun, right? Like it's really cool to go
Yes.
star mining and see 1,000 people huddled around a star, or even with sailing launch,
Absolutely.
seeing like hundreds and hundreds of people all sailing around
Seeing
you.
all the boats.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that to me is lacking in WoW. Not in Classic, actually, in retail, was really lacking because everything's so phased. You go to a major city and supposedly there's a fucking billion subscribers in the game, but you go to a major city, there's like 3 people near the auction house and everyone else is God knows where, you know, maybe in their instanced player-owned houses now. But like,
Welcome
it's
back,
just-
Mr. Nello.
it feels so empty, even though the game is the most popular MMO on earth. While RuneScape is obviously very popular as well, but it's a smaller game, and yet it feels so much more populated, and people communicate with each other just for no reason other than, well, they're fucking around at Wintertod, you know? I definitely agree with that. I'm curious, like, so obviously the games have different kinds of social systems, but we both want more solo challenge in Classic. And as you totally correctly pointed out,
How?
WoW has the issue of classes to balance around. Even the Mage Tower, right? How much development time was put into that? Probably a lot.
Ooh,
And
it's so much more work.
and that
How?
was in a version of the game where classes were more homogeneous.
What solo content are they going to put in WoW? How are they going to do it? I haven't figured it out. I'd love for somebody to tell me. Are they just going to copy paste the Mage Tower? That's it? RuneScape is 90% solo content. Like, and it works. It works really well, but it just doesn't work in WoW. It just doesn't work. And I want it, but I want something that doesn't work. And I really feel like that's what Classic Plus is. Everybody wants something that doesn't work. And that's why I don't think Classic Plus will be good. But I hope it will be. I have hope.
Homogenized than they are in Classic, right? Like that's when everyone gets an interrupt, except Warlocks. But everyone gets an interrupt. Everyone has like some kind of utility to heal yourself, to prevent damage taken, to maybe CC something. But my God, in Classic WoW, there are classes without taunts. How are you going to make a taunt-based tank encounter if you're a protection ballot? You know, like
Shaman tank hype.
What, like designing hard solo challenges that are specific to every individual class and spec is such a challenge. How is that possible?
It's insane, yeah.
Yeah, like and
It
that's
is
the big fear.
possible, but it requires so much more work. And if they had used that work to actually add more content to the game that every class could do, the game would be better. But
Yep.
unfortunately, there's a class system, and it's just one of those things where WoW will always have a lack of solo content because of it, you know? In fact, in like Season of Discovery, they had this like really amazing like challenge for warriors. Like if you want to get a rune, you had to fight this like giant Anubicid mob on top of a pillar that had a bunch of mechanics where you have to be like, I'm gonna say tick perfect, but it's kind of like that.
Hey,
in WoW.
Sod,
It's, like,
wait a second.
actual tick.
Wait a second. He's cooking with this. Sod did have some cool solo challenges. Like the paladin, in order to get, God dang it, what's the name of the freaking sword? Why can I not think of it right now? The Corrupted Ashbringer. In order to get the Corrupted Ashbringer, you had to do this epic ass solo quest line and fight 4 horsemen at the end. You had to fight Mograine. And that was a solo raid. And the encounter was challenging and fun, but they would have to make that solo, that they only made that raid for one class. So it was balanced around being a paladin. I'm not sure how it would go if you weren't on a paladin trying to do that same encounter. And so they would have to design 8 different solo encounters for every class, and then they would have to tune it for spec as well. Otherwise, everybody would just do the encounter as a shadow priest instead of a holy priest. And so I don't know how that would go either.
Perfect gameplay.
It's a lot of game design. It's a lot
and
to
if you
ask.
did 20 kills in a row or like something like that, without failing, you would get cool sunglasses on your character. Like it was like a flex, you know. And they only did this for warrior, right? Because it was just designed around warrior, you know. So it's just one of those things where people have seen a glimpse of this like exciting solo content.
You talking about
Kansu? So
Kansu?
sparse because you have
Kansu
to, like,
was for paladin too. I don't
think about all the classes. You gotta like do it for this class and that class, and then we're gonna complain, yeah, but my priest is not good at it, or hunter is too easy for them. It's just such a mess, right? Like, and I'm not sure what they can do about it other than just put in more effort. But again, imagine if that effort was put into the actual game.
They changed it so everybody could.
For
Okay.
everybody.
To
And
me,
I was about to
it
say,
all-
I remember
this is
doing
one
it
of those
on
things,
my
you
other
know?
characters
it,
too.
it all really boils down, and it sucks to say because it kind of stems from an argument that specifically WoW players hate because it really sounds like you think you do, but you don't. But like, it needs to boil down to Blizzard having like a vision for the game and understanding what's correct in the long term, and understanding that the demographic that they've bred over the past 15 years is one that's not going to immediately appreciate it, but will ultimately kind of foster a better community that's going to last longer. You know, the game was, you mentioned like the comments that Sardaco made, the World of Warcraft was its most popular and growing back in Classic, TBC, and Wrath. It hit its peak in the early Cataclysm, and then when they homogenized stuff in Cataclysm, it immediately started going downhill from a population standpoint, from a subscription standpoint. So when the game was less grindy, it was growing. Oh, sorry. When the game was more grindy, it was growing. And then when Blizzard started answering that
W grinds.
those complaints and criticisms,
Shout out to the grinders.
it started shrinking because players started playing for less time. They understood that, well, why invest that extra 50 hours at the end of a patch when next patch is going to have a catch-up system anyway? You know, and that's like this really, it's a choice that developers have between understanding that not all criticism should be responded to in by just fixing it, right? Like sometimes people complaining is a good thing, right? When people complain about not having their best in slot legendaries, not because of the cap, I agree the cap was dog shit, but like when that was alleviated, when people complained, oh, I don't have my best in slot legendaries, if they're still playing and they're still going for that, that's what's going to make getting that item super satisfying. It's only when people go apathetic to getting those items, when they start having no meaning, when getting them doesn't feel like anything anymore because they're the same item you've been getting for 10 years, as you've mentioned, just scaled up more. Well, that's when people fall away. And that was my feeling with retail in Dragonflight, where I kept getting the same item over and over and over and over again. At a certain point, I'm like, why am I spending all this time mythic raiding when I'm getting the exact same loot I've been getting in heroic?
Just a thought, WoW could treat every class like RuneScape skills. Let everyone level up each class individually on the same character and have a skill page with all the class levels, professions, etc. Let everyone swap between classes by equipping their weapon and dumb down the classes to have like 4 to 5 skills. Yeah, you're talking about fundamentally changing the entire core game design of World of Warcraft. At that point, I don't even know if I would call it WoW. It might need to be a completely different MMO at that point. That sounds like Guild Wars. No, I mean, it sounds like New World. New World, your class is determined by what weapon you have equipped. That's exactly how you just described New World, essentially. Or what was that Korean MMO people were playing? Sony was playing it for a while. Me and Shobek tried it. Czar tried it for like a day. Throne and Liberty. That's Throne and Liberty. When you tell someone what class are you playing, you say I'm bow dagger or I'm dagger greatsword. That's your class. And you level up that weapon. When you take that weapon off, you lose everything. You lose all your levels. When you put a new weapon on, you got to level that one. So eventually you could level every weapon. It would just be slower. Yeah, class identity is everything in WoW. And if you think about it, a lot of the big streamers are known for playing one class in WoW. Zaryu. What class you guys think about when I say Zaryu? I think Zaryu is a mage. I always think Zara is a mage. That is class identity. If I say Esfand, I think Paladin. If I say Asmongold, we all know he only plays warrior. So that's just class design. That's World of Warcraft. People get known for playing one class, you know? And if you change that, it's not WoW anymore, unfortunately.
Heroic and a Mythic Plus. So I quit. So like, yeah, that's Blizzard, I think, just needs to have a bit of a spine. And I understand it's hard after Shadowlands and after all this shit happened.
Yeah.
Blizzard really feels like they need to cater to their player base. But like, there is a point where developers need to develop as well, be creative in their own way.
Absolutely. If you only are listening to people complaining, then you might end up making a game that no one enjoys, right?
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. But it's very hard, right? Like, obviously, sometimes the complaints are valid, but you don't want to make a game that's too easy, that's too fast. You know, like if you are able to get all your biz gear in like a month or two, it's just ridiculous. You know, and there's been expansions and patches like that, right, where people they get so bored that they make alts. They make like another
Joker
of the
made
same
7
class,
alts.
so they get to go and get the same gear again, so they can feel those dopamine
Simonize makes 3 to 5 rogues per expansion. It is insane.
hits again. But what if the way you feel that dopamine hit is by it being a way harder item to get, and it takes you more hours, but when you finally get it, you're just so satisfied, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
But again, the problem with this is like, people are going to complain that like, oh, you guys made these items too rare, and the people that are getting them are getting priority over me to join raids, because everything is
That's why if you remove the lockout and you make all the items a bit more rare, it allows people to run the raid as many times as they want per week. Just don't spoon everybody the items. And if you do this thing where you need the tier 1 to upgrade to tier 2, you need previous items in order to upgrade to the newer items, then it will keep the old content relevant. I don't think it's such a bad system. I wouldn't mind playing that. Some people would hate it, but I would like that.
Groups, yeah. Yeah.
If it was like, oh, it's like solo content, then like it's a little different, right? But yeah, it's just
for sure. The fact that it needs to, and you know, again,
that would encourage Giga Sweat meta grinding. Good. The best part of World of Warcraft is when the people that played the most had the best gear. And you sat in Orgrimmar and you looked at their gear and you said, damn, I wish I had that. I don't like catering to the casuals.
Blizzard unfortunately kind of dug their own grave here. It's like, yeah, you create a time-based dungeon system where you're punishing your group if you're too slow or if you mess up a mechanic, like with Mythic Plus. You're gonna foster an environment where people are incredibly picky with who they choose. You know, they're gonna yeah, exactly. Like,
did you hear about the protests?
Which ones?
Like, okay, so in the start of this expansion, the War Within, I think, there were some classes that were like, they weren't that good at Mythic Plus at high keys. And what's happened in retail WoW is there's a lot of people that have gotten pretty good at the game, and they're serious about their Mythic Plus score, their Raider IO score, if you know what that is.
Yeah, of course,
and
of course.
They want to get whatever 2K. Actually, 2K is not even good.
It's like 3K now. It's like over 3K now. Yeah,
3K or higher. Yeah, 3K or higher. Excuse me. And they were like obsessing on the fact that no one's inviting them to a plus 12. And a plus 12 at the time was like, there was a jump, you know, 11. I did some 11s, for example, right? I never did a 12. There was a massive jump from 11 to 12. You had to take it really serious, right? Because 12 had an extra affix.
Yeah, that's when it's fortified and tyrannical together, right? Is that 12 or is that 10?
Yeah.
Okay, that's 12.
I think that was 10. And 12 had this Zalatat mechanic, which is an extra modifier. And it got nerfed eventually, but this is pre-nerf. So people were like, dude, no one wants to invite my Demon Hunter.
I mean, so that's
like
a 0.
Hunter, whatever classes weren't good. And they just made protests where they would make a group and just write protests like against people not inviting them. And the whole LFG was spammed like this, with just people making protests.
Oh my God.
It's just comedy, you know?
I mean, for
And that's
me,
what happens with a class system, you know, like it's
Yeah.
just one of those things.
I mean, for me, maybe this is I'm being too patronizing when I say this, but like, if you're not getting invited, make your own group. Like, I play DPS, and I've played DPS for many years now in retail, and for cutting edge, for climbing to 2.5K and 3K. When I did that,
Yeah.
I've always just made my own groups, because yes, as a DPS,
Yeah,
you're
dude.
going to be one of
This is-
millions and millions of different applications. Just make your own group.
People
if you
just
have a good
don't
peak,
wanna make their own
everyone's
group.
going to sign up. Like, if you have a good 10 or a good 15 back in Dragonflight, you know, a 15, I'm forgetting the best keys in Dragonflight. You're gonna.
You know what it is, guys? People just like to complain. People want to receive everything and do nothing. That's what I've learned about people. And if it's not that, then they have something to complain about. It's just like real life, and that's not going away. So they could make a perfect game, and people will find something to complain about. This is the nature of what we want. It's what makes us social. We want something to talk about. If everything is perfect, you got nothing to talk about. Problems are not necessarily a bad thing, but talking about how to fix problems is just part of being human, I think.
You're gonna get 100 applications in like a blink of an eye. You know, just make your own damn group. But that's kind of the problem, right? You foster a community that is like, well, I mean, it's just a weird situation with retail, where it's like, on one hand, it's such a lonely experience. You're leveling by yourself. Everything in the open world's by yourself. Now there's delves, which are dungeons by yourself. Like, everything's by yourself, except dungeons and raids, which are not only group content, they are hard group content eventually, like really
And
hard
they are the
sometimes.
only way to get gear in the game.
Yeah. So it's like this really weird situation where you're teaching players to play by themselves, and then you're not giving them.
Chat, what's the most important thing in an MMO? Number one most important thing. What is it? What is the number one thing? The number one most important thing in an MMO is people playing it. Nothing else matters. Nobody plays the game. Nobody cares. Okay? So every single time you make a change to the game, we should be asking ourselves a question. Are more people going to play it or less if we make this change? That should be the baseline of game development right there. So that's what we have to ask ourselves whenever we're making these changes.
The tools and the
It's so
skills
insane.
necessary
Yeah.
to find people, not just skills like socially, but skills
Wait.
mechanically.
You have to also remember, sorry to cut you off,
Yeah,
like,
no.
like in the latest expansion, there's a way for you to do dungeons while leveling, but with bots.
Exactly.
You know that, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
So you're making a really good point here, where like they give you no tools whatsoever on how to interact with other people, and then you go from doing brain dead easy content to extremely challenging group content with the worst friction. The worst friction is you need to talk to people.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
you
the
get-
hardest
people
part.
complain in RuneScape that RuneScape is slow and it takes forever to travel. Like, bro, there's no social friction in this game. That's the worst friction. Like, I'm on vacation playing RuneScape, bro. That's what I feel like. I have to deal with making raids and inviting people.
No, the catering to casuals thing, guys. Listen, catering to casuals is actually a short-term gain in players. It's a short-term gain, but ultimately it ends up being less people playing. So Blizzard has been catering to casuals for a long time in retail, and ultimately I think it's made less people play the game. So we're looking at long-term players, not short-term, when it comes to making these changes. I got to TP out. I'm dead. Oh, let's go. I almost died right there.
People, and then like not saying no to people, and then people get mad about it and being master looter. Like, there's so many unnecessary stresses with WoW. They don't exist here, but it's also what makes WoW what WoW is. It's also what makes WoW popular on Twitch. People love to see these interactions between people, you know? Like, what did that guy say to that guy? This drama, this whatever, you know? But at the end of the day, it's like not a necessary part of the game, and I think most people don't like that stuff, you know? It just happens.
I love grouping in WoW. That's rating is what kept me playing.
They're trying to see like who ninja'd who stole the Staff of Dominance, who took the shield. You know what I mean? That's what people want to see. That's why they watch WoW. Straight up.
I do really love it, but
same.
My huge issue with retail, and part of the reason the rating scene is not growing at all, is because the overworld content, everything outside of raiding and high-end Mythic Plus is so easy, is so simple. It's so brain off. It's so like monkey-brained nonsense that breaking through to the harder content feels impenetrable. There's social friction, there's mechanical friction, and there's like external elements of friction, like managing, you know, your time and schedule and all that kind of stuff. Like
needing add-ons as well.
Yeah, needing add-ons, which I fully support them pulling back on combat add-ons in Midnight. I
it's fully
support that. I think it's become so ridiculous. But like, it's just so frustrating where I'm in the overworld of retail. I played the War Within in the most recent patch. I didn't play it on launch or anything. And I'm just sitting around. It's brain dead. It's so boring. You're just walking around doing these slop world quests for recolors and nonsense and bullshit. Nothing requires any attention. I can literally fall asleep at my keyboard and nothing is going to happen to my character. Same with leveling, same with everything. And then I do Mythic Plus and you're like, oh, now I'm actually have to pay attention to the game. And that's because I played for a long time.
Casuals make up a large portion of the player base, and companies should cater to some amount of them in hopes of turning them into long-term players like us. The only company I've seen that does this well is RuneScape. It caters to casuals because it's horizontal progression. You can play slowly and you don't lose progress. But it also caters to hardcore players because there's so much content that it's very hard to complete a character in RuneScape, even if you play 12 hours a day. And that's why the horizontal progression is the key to catering to everyone. At the same time, you need enough content for the hardcore players so they don't beat the game in 2 weeks. And RuneScape is the only game that I've seen so far that has the best of both worlds.
A player that hasn't done that, they're going to feel terrified of fucking up and ruining someone else's day, ruining 4 other people's or 19 other people's day. And that's what Classic WoW did so well, where the first 1 to 60, it's not that it's super hard, it's just a tutorial. You're learning every element of your class.
You learn how to use your character.
I need the whip and the trident for and the dragon boots for Colin.
You have to like deal with.
That's why 87 Slayer.
Use your abilities to survive the enemies that actually can kill you.
And now in retail, you get a boost just for buying the expansion.
Yeah.
You get, so it's fuck that, right? Like, so, I mean, I'm sure we can go on for a long time about this. And I know we're also close to wrapping up here due to the 1 hour limit, but like, I want to ask a question to you that I've asked in most of my episodes here, because it's just a fun one, especially for people that have played both WoW and RuneScape and have that perspective that you do. The first one, there's 2 questions. The first question is, what's been the best and worst part of OSRS? What's been your favorite boss, for example, and what's been like your least favorite element of the game? The element you're like, I hate doing this so much. Yeah.
So I think for me, like favorite boss that I've done has to be like the Doom boss. It's very, very engaging fight. Like I like that you delve deeper and you can like redeem the loot and leave or just risk it all. And then like there's new mechanics that happen at lower levels. So I think it's not even close. Like that boss, by far my favorite boss, right?
Awesome.
And least favorite thing in RuneScape. I don't know. Like there's not like a lot of things that like really stick to my mind, but like really annoying to do. But maybe some of the quests, like there were like a few quests that were like very frustrating. Like maybe like one thing that I could say is like inventory.
Yeah.
I'm not used to having only 28. How much it is? 28 back slots. Yeah. I've gotten more used to it now. Yeah. But in the beginning, like people made fun of me. They're saying like you play like a UIM player where you're carrying everything with you. But like what I'm used to it, I was carrying around my runeful helmet that I got from Temporos Caskets for like a month in my bag. So I was so happy about it,
Yeah.
And I would go fight a boss with gold in my bags and stuff like that, So like that was very annoying, but now it's not that bad. Now it's kind of fine,
I think the inventory is such a beautiful part of the game. It's like this management game within the game itself, right?
It is, yeah.
But initially it is hard. Like as a WoW player, I'm like, when do I get my extra bag slots? Like what is going on, right?
It's crazy.
Breach said that too.
It's super hard to wrap your brain around, but like when you get it, like when like we talk about itemization in TBC and the fun puzzle game that it is.
Isn't that crazy, guys, that RuneScape is a game of unlocking quality of life? And one of the only qualities of life that WoW has is the bag slots and a mount. And RuneScape has neither of those. RuneScape has no mount and no bag space and infinitely more quality of life unlocks than World of Warcraft Classic. It's kind of wild when you think about it. Like how much quality of life unlocks there are in RuneScape, and WoW Classic has 2 qualities of life. And RuneScape doesn't even have those 2.
Is what I love so much is that like in RuneScape, you're playing that game all the time, right? In TOA, you're looking at the best loadouts or whatever. Well, I don't have half these items. So you're like looking through your bank, finding little like, okay, well, I don't have the Grazi Rapier or the Fang at one point. So now I'm going to use the Keris instead, and the DDS here, and the Burning Claws there. You're playing that puzzle game with your inventory based on what you have. It's so interesting in that regard. I love it. I love that part of it so much. I've come just completely around on it. And man, I got another question, but it's fine. I wanted to ask you, like,
go ahead. Okay.
You should get the Ash Sanctifier. All right, listen. Vala, listen, bro. I'm going to time you out, okay? Because, that is a bad boba. And I'm going to tell you why, okay? So 30-second timeout. This is why I gave you 30 seconds. I am using a spell called Demonic Offering, which gives you 3 times the amount of prayer when you bury your ashes. So I want to collect those into my inventory, then use my Arceus spellbook, Demonic Offering, to sacrifice 3 of my ashes at the same time, which then gives me 3 times the amount of XP. Every 3 tormented demons that I kill, I get 3 times the amount of XP by being on the Arceus spellbook and casting a spell called Demonic Offering to sacrifice those 3 ashes, which nets me 1.1k prayer every time I use the spell, which would make the Ash Sanctifier a worse option. So let's make sure, guys, if you are going to aboba in the channel, that you are giving the proper advice to the streamer, okay? So for that one, that was why I had to 30-second you. All right, back to the interview.
Okay.
I could do like another 20 minutes maybe.
Okay, cool. No worries at all. Yeah, and I appreciate that because I think it's fun to talk to someone who plays a lot of RuneScape, but also plays a lot of World of Warcraft. So my references, aren't lost.
Yeah, we understand each other on that stuff.
Sometimes I bring up like a specific WoW thing to RuneScape content creator. And
LMGD MMR! Thank you for the raid, LMGD!
It's fine, I get it. So I'm curious.
And I played retail WoW as well, right? Because like some creators might not know anything about retail or only know classic, but
Yo, if you're an LMGDer, boys, if you're an LMGDer with a dragon scimitar next to your name, let me see them. Any dragon simmies in the chat from LMGD raid? Guys, show them your dragon simmy, boys. Show the dragon simmies. Hey, there he is. Lajness. I see Lajness right there with the dragon simmy. One of the coolest promotions that Twitch has ever run. The little DSim badge. You can show people that you're a RuneScape player if you gift a sub today. So W's if you gifted a sub to LMGD earlier and got that dragon scimitar, guys. That is awesome.
I've played I played retail as much as classic pretty much. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So like, let me just quickly schedule. Okay, my computer's giving me a warning.
It's only today. It's for the next 2 weeks. Next 2 weeks or so.
So my second question to follow up on that is actually like, so one of the topics, and I know this is a bit of a switch, but it's related, I promise, is one of the topics about, why did the WoW creators leave and all this stuff? And I know that's the topic of my video, but like one of the main talking points I've seen is actually about the Iron.
Oh my God, what is this copy pasta? Let me read this. Y'all know I can't be reading these copy pastas doing tormented demons. I'm gonna die. I'm not multi-talented, guys. Hold on a second. Let me kill this one. Okay. Sard, I know a very obese streamer that also plays RuneScape and cries every day because he has no one to raid with. Could you please bring LMGD on Friday? All right, guys, I wouldn't classify LMGD as obese, but we are down to raid with LMGD. We can bring him to the raid if he's raid ready. If he's raid ready on Friday. I would love for him to come to TOA and raid with us. We could schedule a bit earlier raid so that it's not so late in the day for the EUers. We could do a 12 p.m. TOA Friday. Maybe Joker will be down to come too. And we could send. Let's do it. We'll do it 12 p.m. this Friday, yeah? Who's LMGD? LMGD he plays from Georgia. So you have Joker from Malta and LMGD from Georgia, not the state, the country. No, I'm from Georgia. It threw me off because LMGD was like, I'm from Georgia, and I was like, nah, me too. I live in Atlanta. Where do you live? And he's like, nah, the country. Bet. That's what I was like, all right, bet. Well, my bad, you know? Go Dogs. Yeah. Dracula is from Georgia. Really? I thought Dracula was from like Transylvania, which was in Romania or some shit. But what do I know?
Iron Man game mode. Like, well, they left because they shouldn't have played Iron Man. And before I give my opinion, I don't want to influence what your opinion on this is. What do you think about that? Should they have played Iron Man? Do you think they'd keep playing if there remains? Like, what do you think about that talking point?
Yeah, that's a really good one. So I've talked about this a bit, and my general opinion on the matter of like Iron Man versus like main, right, is I think as a streamer, unless your focus is going to be PKing, right, or perhaps like going for like some crazy PVM achievements and stuff like that, right, Iron Man makes a lot of sense because you're prolonging your content, right? Like whenever you get an item, it's like a hype moment on your stream because you got the item,
Super
you
hype.
earned that item, right? Versus just farming GP. So I personally
Actually, there are some moments, they don't even have to be items, where it's hype as an Iron Man. Early game, mid game, if you get a Raynar seed, you're hype. It kind of brings more joy to mundane stuff. But it also makes the grinds longer. So it makes some things better, some things worse. But ultimately, Iron Man is a better version of the game for streamer. And that's why I'm still playing it.
think like Iron Man is the most logical way to play as a streamer. As a normal person, like a non-streamer, like it just depends who you are. Like maybe you want more slow gameplay, you play Iron Man. Maybe you want to farm gold all the time and you want faster paced stuff, you play a main. But as a streamer, I think you're more pivoted to play Iron Man. And this is not even bringing up the social pressure.
I'll never
which
forget the
some
Dougie
streamers,
for the
like, talk a
RCB
lot about,
drop.
like, the
Let's
social
go.
Pressure, people expecting you to play Iron Man. Yeah.
A throwback right there.
I'm not even bringing that up, but that's also part of it. But I think regardless of that, like you just have more content.
Yeah.
You have more to do.
And I think
that's
that
the one thing that you want, you know?
I think that stems also maybe like from a, and you can tell me I'm wrong here because I'm not a streamer and not a WoW
Attack
streamer
level
or a RuneScape
83.
streamer. But like I think one of the issues there might have been like, okay, well, WoW streamers are coming in with the perspective of World of Warcraft, so it's combat focused. That's the most exciting parts of WoW streaming, right? Is like risking your hardcore Iron Man, for example, not an Iron Man in WoW, but hardcore account in WoW, right? Character in WoW. But in RuneScape, because there's so much downtime between intense combat, you might feel rushed to get to that like hype streaming moment. But that's not really acknowledging that a lot of old school players, a lot of old school Twitch watchers and whatever streaming platform you use, they're fine watching you chop a tree for a while because you're just engaging with your audience. You're maybe watching a video with them or whatever. And that's just a very natural element of RuneScape progression that people enjoy watching, while maybe in the WoW space, and you can tell me I'm wrong, maybe they're not going to feel as excited to watch you like go pick herbs for a couple hours, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of the same though, because like if you're like, let's say you're streaming a lot of PVM and then you start like chopping trees for 4 hours, people are not gonna be want to watch that, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
And it's the same with WoW, you know, like let's say I'm always doing raids and then I'm gonna just pick herbs for 4 hours. It's the same thing. They're gonna get annoyed by it, right?
For sure.
But end of the day, if you have to do it, you have to do it. Like obviously, I try to do most of the boring stuff off stream. Same in WoW. But I think sometimes doing it on stream and like maybe watching a video or just talking and yapping, it's fine. And honestly, like you were mentioning something about like there's not as much combat.
Chat, I'm going to tell you guys something. Streaming RuneScape and on an Iron Man specifically, I feel like it made me a better streamer because it forced me to learn how to do just chatting and talk and create conversations because the content doesn't carry. It actually forced me to become a better streamer. I am infinitely a better streamer now because I've played OSRS, and that's just my personal opinion. But learning how to become a good just chatting streamer is something that is just the way that it works now. It's just the way that the meta is. If you can't have good conversations on your stream pretty much the entire time that you're live, then it's going to be tough for you to succeed unless you're one of the best players in the world, because gameplay doesn't always carry. And RuneScape, like when I was in the doing my Infernal Cape, that shit carried. I didn't have to talk at all. I didn't have to say one single word. 5K viewers. But you can't always be doing the Infernal Cape. You have to work to that point. So it's tough to you just gotta get good at just chatting. That's the meta. So I just wanted to point that out.
That intensity in RuneScape, I kind of disagree a little bit, because in RuneScape you could technically just do content that is only combat back to back to back to back to back,
over and over
I
again.
barely have time to even my chat, because WoW would be like, oh, I have to find a group first. I have to wait for the tank to show up to the dungeon. I have to wait. There's a lot of waiting in WoW. With RuneScape, there's a lot of waiting and skilling.
Yeah.
But when it comes to PVM, I would be like, dude, that's like 100% locked in type shit, you know?
Yeah, I mean, even the raid lockouts are waiting. Like, waiting equals content. Dude, Asmon used to always say this when I watched Asmon when he played WoW like years ago. He's like, oh, okay, Blizzard, waiting equals content, because they were time gating everything. And you're just waiting around a lot. You're waiting around a lot in WoW. It is true. It's just how it is.
You know, like I'm doing Doom, bro, for 4 hours. Like I'm barely looking at chat. I'm like, I gotta focus. Something.
No, I mean, Doom is crazy.
That's why sometimes I stop doing it. I'm like, dude, I want to just read my chat and relax, and let me do some Slayer.
Yeah.
You know
Have you done
so-
deep delves at Doom yet? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I'm just curious. Have you done like an 8+?
I reached 8 only 3 times.
Okay.
I've not even come close.
8 is
I died
insane.
instantly.
8 is insane. It took me a long time to get past 8, like get an 8 kill and then get past. It's really, really hard. 8 is just a huge step up over 7 because of the double boulders. It's crazy. Sorry.
Chat, the day I start doing Doom, how long is it going to take me? How many days of sending that thing all day before I get a level 8 kill? How many days? 5 months. Stop the cap, bro. 1 day to 3 days. I'm seeing 1 day to 3 days. No, it's got to be harder than that, guys. Somebody told me Joker doesn't have a level 8 kill yet. It's got to be hard. And he has decent gear. He has Elite Void and a skull bow. No, it's got to be hard. I'm thinking maybe a week or something like that before I get an 8. I'm thinking it's maybe like a week.
It's
Yeah,
totally
I've only
off topic.
beaten 7 3 times, bro. So like
That'll
I'm
happen.
really far.
He's got
away from
3
it.
kills
But,
on
like,
7.
It's fun though. I like the challenge.
It's an
of it.
incredible fight. It's an incredible. So to bounce off what you said there, it's interesting because I agree with you. Like I love the fact that you can just grind RuneScape and you don't feel locked to a specific, issue of finding a group or lockouts and like they are in WoW. But I guess my point is more so like if you're maybe a WoW streamer or just not familiar with RuneScape or what it entails, you might like, okay, I want to focus combat because the PVM is really fun in RuneScape, especially in the mid and late game.
Yeah.
But like as an Iron Man, I'm also locked to my supplies. And if I'm rushing through those supplies and only getting what I need, eventually you're going to run out of prayer pots. You're going to run out of resources and utilities.
Yeah.
And you have to go back. And I think for you, you maybe intentionally or not, or maybe you just like the skilling, as you said. So it came naturally. But like, was farming your first 99 or one of your first 99s?
It was, yeah.
Yeah. That's a perfect example of like you being able to manage that side and set yourself up to being able to do hours and hours of PVM.
It's just a puzzle, man. Iron
Yeah.
Man is just a puzzle for me. Like
Yeah.
it's mostly about like decision making and like what skills to pursue. And that's what I've been enjoying about it. It's like trying to solve the problems.
You need this so you can do
Just
this,
like
but you need this before you can do that.
Like Path of Exile, you try to solve your
That's
mana
RuneScape.
problem where you can sustain it, or you
Yeah.
solve your health and defenses. And with Iron Man, I feel like, how do I solve the fact I'm running out of supplies? Oh, I'm running out of like seeds. Which boss drops these seeds? I go on the wiki, which by the way is amazing. I love
Yeah.
the wiki of this
The
game.
wiki's insane.
Oh my god,
It is good.
It's so good. It's so good.
Very good.
I love going and just reading and learning stuff. Like you go on the wiki, you look up the item, like, oh, it can drop from this guy. Phantom Muspa, Hui can drop 40 of them. Let me go kill that boss. What else can I get from that boss? Oh, I'm now working towards 3 things at the same time. And it's just
There's no way he calls it Huey. There's no way, Joker, that you're calling Huey way.
So satisfying. Instead of just like picking one thing and just tunnel visioning it, which you could do, by the way, you can pick something and build off it and work towards multiple skills at the same time, multiple goals at the same time. And that's what for me feels so good in this game. It's just amazing.
It's why I always say that, you know, people say old school RuneScape and RuneScape in general, it's a rhythm game, it's a point and click adventure game, and I agree with both of those. But I always say it's a management game too, because half your time spent in the game is considering your inventory, your supplies,
it is.
The part that makes someone invested in a game to me is not just the process of playing it, but it's like logging off, going to bed, and not being able to sleep because you're just thinking about it so much, you know, or just spending like an hour in the shower just
theory
thinking about it.
crafting, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's your name.
Theory
right?
crafting,
Yes,
yeah.
That's it's nice. It's nice.
That's
no,
the
like
part
I'll
that I
give you an
connect with.
example, right? So people are like, dude, why are you not using cannonballs? And I'm like, well, it takes time to make cannonballs. I have to consider the time it takes to make them.
Is it worth
the time it takes to get the steel? So maybe sometimes
for me, cannonballs are not worth anymore because I'm already 99 range. So I don't benefit from the skill anymore. It takes time to go and craft them, and I need melee levels. So it's like, even if this skill is slower, I'm benefiting. I get faster Slayer XP, but I get no melee XP. So is it really advancing my account to use a cannon and to go stop what I'm doing right now to go farm cannonballs? When there's some tasks that I could use on a cannon, or I could just skip those tasks at the Slayer Master with 30 points. I could skip the cannon task. So it's a constant battle of weighing what you want to do. And there might be a right answer statistically if you like spreadsheeted it out. But a simple solve for me is to just not use the cannon and do melee until I max my melees. And then start using the cannon once my melees are all maxed.
It's not worth it for me to do that. It's not always about what's the fastest way to do something. It's also
and that's
like,
not a bad solve.
what are the costs associated with that? It's like, let's say I want to level fletching or woodcutting. Okay, I'm leveling woodcutting this morning doing ironwood trees, right? It's like kind of easy escaped. I don't know if you know about them. It's like 90K
crazy.
an hour.
Yeah, they're insane.
But you're not getting any fletching XP back.
Yep.
So maybe I would have to consider killing some boss who drops like use or magics, or potentially going still back to Privdanas and getting like U-locks there. Or maybe I do Miscellanea and get my maples there. I have to think about all of that while I'm doing this cool new method. So it's just like opportunity cost, right? And I love that. Like even though WoW has stuff like this, but I feel like RuneScape has a bit more in-depth like thought to it, right?
It's
and
more
I do love
interconnected.
theory crafting. It's so much fun. Oh yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's the part that always resonated with me. Like I call it the intersectionality of all the different skills in the game, and how like not only can you multitask them, you are benefiting off of doing that by just like cross-pollinating so many different upgrades, right? Like my two favorite skills in the game
cross-pollination
are construction and magic, because what they influence, magic combat, sure, but what they influence more than anything is just utility.
Chat,
right?
any
like
cross-pollinators?
Switch your prayer books, or sorry, your magic books, at your house is such a big time saver. Having teleports to 30 different locations in your player-owned house.
Yeah.
You know, not to go off on a player-owned house topic here, but RuneScape's player-owned house doesn't have as much customization options as most other popular modern MMOs do, but it's my favorite POH system.
Sailing is hella cross-pollination? Hell yeah.
Of it. It's not just
It's
a cosmetic
so good,
thing,
dude.
right?
It's so good.
I love
when you get 83 construction, the game changes. It's a different game.
I am
it's
like,
a different game, bro.
I am so like, you know, I like the player-owned house so much in old school because I am not a cosmetics-driven player too much. But
same.
But because I go there so much, it made me want my house to look cool. Like I put all my league stuff in there because I go there so much. It's like, why not? Like like in WoW, my main criticism with like the one coming at midnight is that it's fully instanced. I have no reason to ever go into it other than like, I guess spending my.
I love nerds talking about video games. I think I'm gonna do this until I'm gone. This is so much fun. Just nerding out talking about video games, guys. Whether you agree with my takes or not, you gotta admit, this shit's fun. I love doing this.
Time like adjusting a candle recolor or whatever, but like at the end of the day, the loop of World of Warcraft is finding group, go do dungeon, find group, go do raid, go do your weeklies and dailies and stuff. At no point does that take you back through 2 loading screens to go to your fully cosmetic player own house. But in RuneScape, I am constantly going back there, and I'm constantly taking different teleports. Oh, my farm run, my Weiss teleport. Oh, Lunar Island if I need to, right? Like so many different like paths just stem from that singular location that gives it so much value. I love the player and housing so much. And same applies to Magic, right? The different Magic books and all their crazy utilities, just the high alching, the superheat items, all the different teleports. So much value just from that singular leveling is so satisfying to me.
Yep.
I want to really quickly loop back to what you said about the WoW streamers and Iron Man mode and all that, because I 100% agree with you. Not to go on off a different tangent here, but like I've always said that I don't think they would play the game for longer as mains at all. Maybe privately, sure, but like as streamers, you're going to get all the stuff given to you. You don't know what any of it means.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no journey there. There's no progression there. It's not going to be
They would
interesting.
have quit months ago.
Yeah, like
That's what I think.
it's going to be way less interesting watching Sardaco do Inferno with full BIS, full Ancestral, and
Yeah, I don't like that everyone assumes that the streamers would accept handouts if they played a main. I think that that's one thing is I would play, if I was going to play a main, I would play it the exact same way I play an Iron Man. I would just use it to skip some of the farming, essentially. But it seems like everybody has this take, and I also agree with this take, that if you played a main with handouts, nobody cares. That's like a well-known thing, that no one gives a damn if you accepted handouts. Which is why I would never do that, right? So it's like, this is not even an option. I don't know why people even talk about it. It's so obvious that I don't even know why people bring it up.
Tumek and Shadow and a Tebow, right? And Masori. Like that would be not as interesting. And you can say, well, just don't take that stuff. That's possible, but also like
easier said than done.
Yeah, yeah, easier said than done, right?
Just don't accept things from people. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. It's such a such a hard thing to stop doing, especially when you're so used to
people would just
skipping
assume
grinds.
that you did anyway.
Yeah.
They would just assume that everything you have, people just gave it to you.
That's the problem with a main right there, is they assume that you didn't earn anything, which is why they need a bronze man mode. Official, in my opinion.
All the mainscape accounts on Twitch and on YouTube and all that, they're all either amazing PvPers like Odablock and Dino and West Ham, or they're just really good at PVM, right? Like No Monkey and Mulgoat Kirby and all these people. Like it's very rare you see a main that's just kind of like chilling out playing the game, and maybe if they have a great personality and they're really funny or whatever, right? As a streamer, as someone who wants to experience the journey, I think Iron Man is the play. Now, I would advocate for Group Iron Man. That's how I started playing the game.
Group Iron Man is
really
awesome.
Helps smooth out some of the harsher edges. But like Iron Man, it makes you see all the content in the game.
Absolutely. I think you're right about Group Iron Man as well. I think in theory that's like the best way to play.
Yeah.
But obviously people would just quit anyway, and then you're like stuck, right?
Yeah. Man, like again, I would obviously hindsight, but
how do they
I think
fix
if
that?
some of those,
how can they fix people quitting a Group Iron Man? Is there any solution? When I see a problem, I start thinking about solutions. You can't really fix that. You can't really fix it. Is there any way you could allow people to form new groups with a penalty, a heavy penalty? The green helm is the penalty. Is a green helm a new group that's not the original group? I don't understand green helm. Oh, it's unranked group Iron Man. And they reform. Okay, they reform. Someone left their OG group. I got you. I get it. Okay. It's unranked group Iron Man. It's green helm. I'm understanding now. Now I understand. It means their original group died, but they keep playing group. Okay.
players that left, and maybe they'll come back, who knows, but the people, I feel like they would have stuck around for longer if they did Group Iron Man, because it really alleviates.
Some of them
the
were
resource
Group
grind.
Iron Man though.
Yeah, that's true. But it was
Some of them
Zarya,
were
Not many
Soda,
of them, but a few.
Yeah, it was Zarya, Soda, and
Peekaboo.
yeah, Peekaboo. Yeah, too. You're completely correct. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. This is a dumb question, but I asked this of Sardaco, and I'd feel bad not to ask this of you too. if you had to take one, if you had to take one fight from World of Warcraft and just map it onto RuneScape, and one RuneScape fight and put it into World of Warcraft, which ones would you take and why?
So a boss from WoW to RuneScape, and then the other way around.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm just gonna give you a stupid answer. So like, kill Jaden from Legion
Oh
in
my God.
RuneScape.
I mean,
Okay.
do you remember? I don't
There's
know.
no
Do
way.
you remember the pillar mechanic in Kill Jaden when it like splits into a cross beam? That
That
would
was not
fit
my
so
job,
well.
by the way. That was not my job.
No, fuck that.
Someone else was doing that.
No, but
Dude,
that would
the
fit so
pressure
well
on the
though.
guy, bro.
Oh my God, but that would fit so well.
Yeah, I
into
feel like
RuneScape.
unironically that
Yeah.
boss has some mechanics that you could deal with, right? That's
Yeah.
just randomly thought of it. And then from RuneScape, I don't know, maybe Doom, but
The car face
I
would
will
be
have to
great.
think about this question a lot more. It just came to my mind while Kill Jaden.
I do. You know, the one in RuneScape that I always think of that would like perfectly map onto WoW is Akka from TOA. I feel like every one of his mechanics, apart maybe from the prayer one, is like perfect for WoW, right? The memory game, you know, all the different like kinds of like AoEs that he does. I feel like that fits so. I think most TOA fights, honestly, would work well in World of Warcraft, right? Even like the Warden. I don't know if the developer who made it was inspired by Ulduar, but he has the XT deconstructor heart mechanic where it pops out, you do extra damage to it, you know?
Oh yeah.
Cool fight, right?
Now Aka's like really cool actually.
Yeah, Akka's
I
really
think
cool.
that would be a fun boss.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's kind of I mean, I'm sure we can yap a lot about World of Warcraft and RuneScape, but that's kind of all for now. So I want to really thank you for joining me on this podcast. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. It's awesome to speak to someone who not only knows a lot about World of Warcraft, but knows a ton about RuneScape now. And I'm really excited to continue watching your end game journey now. I feel like you're really entering the end game with TOB, late game TOA, Doom, and Chambers of Xeric, which is its own separate beast, right?
Oh yeah, like that's what I'm doing.
TOB
tomorrow,
win?
actually. I'm gonna do Chambers of Xeric with some viewers and try to get the that prayer that extends.
Did he
your
ever get
preservation.
this? Guys, did Joker ever get this prayer? The one that extends your preserve. Did he ever get preserve? He got it? Nice.
stats?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that will help me with my skilling a little bit, you know, because I'm at that point where I want to max my sailing boat, but I need like a bunch of woodcutting levels. So I
Right.
could like cheat a little bit and maybe only get 89 woodcutting and then boost +3 every time, you know?
That's smart. I mean, listen, my God, Chambers of Xeric made me pull my fucking hair out learning it. But now that I know it, I mean, I learned it to do it in trios and I learned to do it in solos. And
I feel
it
like
is
if
like
Chambers not
so
that bad.
frustrating because it's so like unintuitive. Every mechanic is just you breaking
Oh
the
yeah,
game.
I had some really bad things to say about that raid. It was a very bad first impression, but
you are gonna
I've done
hate
it
it for like
twice.
10 hours, but you're
I feel like a lot of RuneScape is unintuitive until you plug in scape the crap out of it and learn it. And then once you know what you're doing, it's not that bad. But until you do that, it's rough. The plugins kind of like save it. And the RuneLight. TOA was fine. I didn't have any issues with TOA. I learned that pretty quick. But I still prefer it with the plugins. A lot of plugins. It's just better. Straight up.
it's gonna become better. I
It's
feel
getting better. It's getting
Yeah.
better. That's all I'm gonna say. Like
Are
the
you doing
other
it
raids
solo?
made more sense early on. No, I've only
Okay.
done it with the WoW guys.
You seen Gearscape?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
I have my
okay,
Gearscape
okay.
profile set up and all that.
We had like a
Love
4-hour
Gearscape.
chambers the first time, bro. I wanted Alta 4 the game.
Oh my
like I was
God.
like, what is this? You know?
Dude, it's just so janky. It's so janky, but it's, you know, when you get it, like I learned to do the mage skip roll. When I kind of understood how it worked, I was like, okay, you know, it's annoying, it's a bit janky, but like now that I can do it, you can really do it without taking a lot of damage. But yeah, it's so different than the other raids.
A lot of things are like that in RuneScape where they're super hard early on, but then
Yeah.
you see your progress, right? Like we didn't really talk about this much, but one of the things I like about the game is, let's say I'm farming a boss, and a way of me seeing progress is the amount of kills I can do per trip.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
This is something that doesn't exist in WoW.
doesn't
At
exist.
all. There's just period. There's just no concept like this. Like if you're in a dungeon in WoW and you kill the boss, you're done. Dungeon's over, right? But in RuneScape, the boss respawns. It's
Yeah.
so weird, but like at the same time, you like in the beginning, it's like, dude, the boss spawns too fast. I can't keep up. And then at some point, it's like, dude, they should make the boss timer quicker respawn because I'm just sitting AFK. Because you see your progress improve like that. Like
Yeah.
Gold Wars, for example, you know.
Oh
Like
yeah,
Gold Wars, I used to hate it, but I like it now.
yeah.
I actually like Gold Wars.
It's same as
What?
Chambers as Eric, right? Where like you hate it initially because it's so like
Yeah.
you're just breaking everything.
Maybe I'll
about
like
it,
God
and
Wars,
Nothing's
guys. I
intentional
don't like
at
it
all.
right now.
But when you did you do the I know you did Zamorak, right, or Krill, right? But did you do Bandos, the door altar method for Bandos, or
I've
no?
been doing Bandos, yeah.
Door
Okay.
altar,
I'm
I
still
did
really
that.
bad at the door altar, but
I'm
I'm
insane
starting
at
to
door
click a
altar.
little
That
bit,
is like
you
one
know?
of the most frustrating places to die. It's so
I'm so insane at bandos, guys. I've almost gotten a kill.
expensive. You have to.
That's how good
or
I am
you
at door
take
altar.
like 15 minutes to run back. It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
But
that's what makes you want to
yeah.
get better.
Yeah, exactly.
Because of the punishment. If you would just like kill him and your dice just go back instantly, it's like, whatever, you know?
Yeah, who
But
cares?
knowing that it's like minus 20 minutes or 10 minutes makes you want to solve it. Like, what's the
Yeah.
best way to do this? You know?
I mean, yeah, exactly. And I know that, like, I'm sure you're gonna. I know you did Yama with Sardaco a little bit. I'm sure you're gonna get on that grind at some point too. Yama's an incredible
Yeah.
boss fight.
I'm
so
trying to
finding a good
get
duo
my,
for that.
really good boss.
It's really, really, really cool. I
Demon
did,
Bane
Yeah,
weapons,
I've done
guys. We can
100
do
KC
that.
on it already.
Oh, okay. So you're
I've-
deeper. Have you gotten anything yet?
But I played with a Zuck helm though. No, I didn't get anything. I
Okay.
was just doing it for that charge, double that charge.
Oh yeah.
So you just get 100
super good.
KC and that's it. But yeah, it's a really fun boss. Same thing by the way, Yama. Like if you get
Joker's
better,
got
at it,
100
you do longer
KC.
trips,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah,
Instead
I
of
mean,
1 KC trips, you do like 4 KC trips. or
figuring
whatever.
that fight out with my group Ironman was so satisfying.
Chat, is it cool if I get some Zuckhelmers to carry me through some Yama kills? Since Joker already did it. I need to catch up to him. All right, sick.
Like we did 1,100 kills because we were not lucky at all. And figuring, going from like a 1 kill trip, 2 kill trip, we were doing like 8, 10, 15 kill trips at some point because we learned like the,
Dude, there's so many
tech on it.
mechanics on the boss.
yeah, a lot of mechanics, very punishing, but really satisfying, really cool. I just love how every RuneScape fight kind of does one thing that's just totally out there, right? Like with the Doom and the punish mechanic, with the melee, right? Yama with the 1-tick agility into like the rune mechanic. It's so unique. Every fight, every raid also is super different from itself or from each other, right? Very cool stuff in that regard, for sure.
I had
but-
like no idea, dude, about Yama. Like that, if you're like closer to Yama when you go on the sigils, you take more damage and lose more prayer. And he
Yeah.
actually cleaves people. So I was always standing in front of the boss. Like there were so many things that took me
Yeah,
like 100
RuneScape is
tries to
already
learn them.
anti-carry
Like,
anyway.
wait,
If you don't
this
contribute, you
actually
don't get
works this
loot.
way. Like,
Mhm. No, 100%. I just, man, some people criticize, I guess, modern boss fights because they're not as like, I guess, emergent. As,
I think they're better, man. I don't know.
They are better. They are
I
better.
feel like, and this is a good thing. If they're
Yeah.
making better bosses, that's what you want. That's
Yeah.
what you want, right? The fact that like the later bosses seem to be the more interesting ones. Like who knows what Raids 4 are going to be like, you know?
Yep. And
Like,
we
RuneScape
see
players
that.
should be happy about
Yeah.
that, you know?
I mean, we see that too. Like, I mean, Scurious is a great example of like a modern boss fight. And compare Scurious to like Dagonoth Kings. I mean, it's fucking night and day. Scurious is such a good fight
Yeah.
for early game, right? Well,
That's the
Dagonoth Kings,
Calphite Queen. Do you
Calphite
want more
Queen.
Calphite
Oh
Queen
my
bosses.
God,
you know,
dude.
like I don't think so.
you didn't play leagues because you weren't playing the game at that time. But I don't know if you know, in the previous leagues, they reworked a lot of fights that are really old and shitty. Like they made like hard mode versions of them called Echo
Oh, really?
fights. Yeah, it was.
Oh, that's what Echo is. Okay.
Yes. And they made it Echo Calphite Queen, and it was like low key one of the best fights in the entire game. And I'm like constantly messaging one of the designers, one of the developers, Modern Arcane, who worked on this stuff. And I'm like, dude, just add it to the game. Just add it to the game. Please add it to the game. I would grind Calphite Queen if you added this.
Why
to the
not
game.
add it as an option?
Right.
And like, if you kill that version, you have higher chances at the loot. I don't know.
Exactly.
Like that way you don't.
Combat modes for each boss. Harder boss equals better loot. Like CG. Do you guys think that every boss should have a combat mode with higher chance of loot? A challenge mode. A lot of bosses have hard mode. I like hard mode. I like hard mode, better loot. Harder content, better loot. I think it's a great idea.
Force it, you still have the old content, right? And
Not every
and
boss,
then
but some
you
bosses.
have this version you can fight. I don't know.
Exactly.
That'd
Okay,
be
I
a
like
good
that. I
version.
like
They
that.
did one for like KBD and Dagonoth, and all of them were so good. They did one for Grotesque
That
Guardians. I don't-
sounds really cool, actually.
Dude, it was so cool. I mean,
Yeah.
oh my God, it was so fucking sick. Anyway, again, I know we're running a little bit over. So thank you so much again for coming. It was been a pleasure to talk to you. I'm excited to see where you go next. And yeah, I mean, it's been awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh, this was an awesome conversation. I enjoyed it myself as well, and I almost leveled the mining level.
Hell
so,
yeah.
it's not
Yeah,
bad.
I had 84 sailing during this, so very nice. Very
Damn.
good
Oh
stuff.
shit!
Yeah.
I'm almost 82. So I think if I
Since we're all sharing, I got a defense level, an attack level, a slayer level, and a prayer level. So yeah, I leveled up. I've been leveling up over here, boys.
time my mining boost correctly, I might be able to get runite from
But
the mother
still
of
no
mine
synapse.
when I like
Damn.
put my hopper in.
Oh, so you're going
because
for
I need like
runite.
100.
Where the heck's my synapse at, boys?
Yeah, because I need 100 more runite for my what's it called, like the keel of the boat.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm forgetting
and I
where
don't want to
got
go kill
mine
rune
from.
dragons. I just want to level mining anyway. So it's like 2 and 1, right?
I think I got my rune
Yeah.
from I'm forgetting where I got it from. I think I got it from what's it called? DT2 bosses. I think they drop rune ore. Because I'm like, where did I get my 1,000 rune ore? And I think it's from my DT2
Or
grind.
raids.
Or
Dude,
raids.
give.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did a top. It gave me like 50.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm
that might
I'm
be
like,
it.
it's an excuse to level mining for me. Like that's kind of why I'm doing it.
Exactly. I
as
mean,
well.
I got burnt out after Leagues 5. Oh my God, we keep going. But I got burnt out of Leagues 5 in December and in January
keep
and
it
stuff.
going.
And I ended up like just AFK grinding skills in RuneScape on my other computer while playing games and doing work or whatever. And I got 399s. I got 99 mining, fishing, and thieving.
Damn.
Just from just AFK nonsense over the course of like two months. And I regret doing that because what I should have done for mining is I should have done the prayer training method in Valar and got my prayer to like 95 or 96.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a big mistake on my part, but it is what
He
it is.
should
But
have
it's
mined
fine now.
prayer.
You got frost dragons.
Yes.
Those guys give a lot of prayer.
Yeah, I have
It's
not
gonna
tried
be
them
okay.
yet, but I know it's insane there. So I'm very excited.
You're almost there. Just 3 more levels.
Yep. And then I'm
You
sending
can't
it.
boost for it, by the way. Don't try.
Oh,
It
really?
doesn't work.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah. So 87 is going to be the then goal. I get my smithing
Yeah.
up as
Is
well.
that a good
And there's
AFK
like a
activity,
fairy
guys?
ring
You
there as
mine
well.
the bone shards, and you get mining and prayer XP. Is that a sick AFK level? Pretty good AFK. It's all right. Okay. Might do
Also,
that.
like you just use the fairy ring. You're right next to the double cannon, like the twice as fast cannonball making, and you just climb up and it's instantly a safe spot.
Oh shit.
So yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay, perfect timing then. Oh my God. Okay, I'll definitely get to that in the next day or two. Yeah, that's sick. Okay. Again, I don't want to keep you going, but I'm sure we could if we wanted to. So thank you so much again. You're always invited to come back on whenever you want if you want to chat. I'm sure that everyone's gonna love listening to it. So thank you again. Yeah, let's get it done.
W interview, man. Dude, I love these podcasts about OSRS and WoW. Some of my new favorite things to listen to.